Hello, welcome back to XR for Designer. This is another episode we talk about Maquette. Today we're going to talk about design and edit tips to move faster in Maquette. With these tooltips, you will understand how to manipulate scaling and coloring really fast so you can do more and think faster. Let's get started. So the first tip is scaling. In Maquette, you have three ways of scaling. You can use your left and right hand to grab the object. Right now I'm using the grip to grab the box. When I grip, you will see these little dots where you can snap your left hand tips to that point. So once it's snapped, use your left hand grip to scale the object in that axis. This is the fastest way, in my opinion, the most intuitive way to get things scaled unproportionally. So the second method is using the joysticks. You can use your joysticks, especially the right hand one, to scale things proportionally on every axis. And then the last one, which is the gizmo, which has recently got introduced to Maquette. Let's change the color so we can understand what we're doing. So with this, you want to hover your tooltip. Oops, this is the property panel. You want to go to select tool, hover over the object, and when you have your tooltip, hover over it, you will see this this icon. When you press it, you will have access to the gizmo. In the gizmo, you have your very common 3D software style gizmo where you can move things on certain axes, scale things on certain axes, rotate things on certain axes, and you can scale it proportionally on every axis. And then you can also do this while holding your trigger. This will duplicate the object exactly on the same axis with everything not changed. So this is a very good way to duplicate things in the same kind of style. So this is scaling. Next, let's talk about coloring. So in Maquette, to color stuff, normally what you would do is that you will pick a color, or you would use your eyedropper to get the color in the scene. So in this case, I use my the tool palette to go for the eyedrop, and then I pointed at the blue object, and I got the color, and then I used the trigger button to color this ring here. You can see when I scale my tooltip, it will influence how big the size my coloring tool is. So when it's smaller, it's more accurate. I can coloring small stuff. Another tool we have, which becomes really handy, is the color palette. So whenever you have a color, you can save it in the slot so you can use it later. And then you also have the hex color to input your very favorite color or to change the color precisely. Next tip is about group. So in group, you have group, ungroup, and nesting. This is a very important tip to move things efficiently around the scene and have things organized. So to group two objects, all you have to do is select them. You will see the silhouette. To select them, press this group button. Now, you'll see when you hover over it, the silhouette covers both objects. This is a very common thing in any design software. You group them so you can move them together. To ungroup them, you select this object and press the ungroup button. Now you see they are ungrouped. Let's group them again. There you go. Next, what we want to do is we want to nest grouping. Nest grouping is very useful when you have to deal with complex scenes, complex hierarchy of groups. So in this case, let's make a simple little human, which has a torso, 2 legs, 2 arms, and head. What you want to do is you want to group each of the components of the body. Let's say we group the legs in one group, we group the arm in one group. I want to add a foot so it looks more like a standable person. So right now I'm grouping the leg. Right now I'm grouping the arm, already grouped. So we have one side of the body. What we want to do is that we want to mirror it. So we just mirrored the arm, but the leg is kind of hard to mirror. So let's go ahead and ungroup it and reposition the joints. So I ungrouped it, reposition the lower leg. There you go. Now, if you want to move this little human, very simply by dragging the whole thing wherever you drag it from, you can group them all together. If you want to create some pose with this little human, you can ungroup it and then just control individual part of the body. This is the beauty of nesting. So with this, you will have a very clear understanding of the movable parts of your bigger group, what is going on, and all the nesting, all the grouping will be preserved when you export your assets into 3D software. There you go. This is nesting. This is very, very crucial. Next, let's talk about assets. So you can create your own 3D assets. If you don't know how to, we have 2 episodes introducing 3D UI and 3D objects. Or you can go to online platforms to download assets. Right now, we're at a website called Google Poly. It's a free website where you can download low poly 3D models. Low poly meaning the mesh is low, so computer renders faster, and it's easier to model. So we're searching the clock. We can get GLTF, OBJ, or USDZ. So in this case, we got the GLTF. Download. Unzip. I think this is FBX. I'm not sure. This is FBX. Okay, so we unzip our file. To the clock. And then we move the whole folder to Document, Maquette, Objects. Paste the folder. When you go back to Maquette, you'll be able to see your assets ready to use. Okay, now we're back at Maquette. Let me grab my controller. There you go. Let's go to Asset. This rocket, go to the first hierarchy, Clock, and you'll see, yes, it's GLTF, sorry. If your GLTF does not have color, don't worry. Just untoggle the editable. This will help you preserve the color or the material that comes with the model. Yes, in one occasion you want to go to Google Poly to download stuff separately other than just use it from your menu. That one exception is that you can't search that from your Google Poly in Maquette, which sometimes happens. So another platform you can use is Sketchfab. This place is for more diverse and interesting, sometimes more complicated models, not necessarily low poly. So what you want to do is you want to go to the search or discover, click the downloadable as a filter, and then just download stuff, right? In this case, we're searching for car, and we find all sorts of cars ready to use in whatever format you need. So we just search one, and we download. We use the same way to put the assets back to our Maquette folder. I have to log in here, but if you try on your own, trust me, it's going to work pretty well. So these are the ways for you to download external things. Or you can create your 3D assets in some interesting ways. For example, this is Medium. It's a sculpting tool in VR because you have Oculus. Otherwise, you won't watch the video. You can use that to sculpting, or you can use Google Block, which is the platform that they model all the Google Blocks assets. Or you can use Tilt Brush, which is a very interesting tool for you to create more organic assets for you to use in your prototype. Or you can use Quill. Quill is a tool that allows you to create illustration style 3D assets. Sometimes you can animate them, export them as FBX or Alembic, and it's pretty cool.